Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Sean from Somm Wine Club, and the wine I'm going to be tasting today is part of the January 2024 Somm Wine Club box. This is the 2022 Mas de Boislauzon Côtes du Rhône Village Rouge. This is a red blend from the Côtes du Rhône Village appellation in the Rhône Valley, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but just to the north of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So the Chaussy family that operates Mas de Boislauzon has been doing so for 6 generations. The fifth generation and the sixth generation jointly manage the winery right now. You have Christine and Daniel, brother and sister, and their children, Arnaud, Quentin, and Joris, who are now collectively taking on responsibilities of overseeing all of the operations of the winery. They do everything themselves. They do all of their own marketing, all of their own farming. The little picture on the label, you can actually see there's 2 oaks. They say the Duchenne, and that actually is not just their logo, but also symbolizes the mark in their property where the border of Châteauneuf-du-Pape meets the Côtes du Rhône village. And that's where a good portion of this wine is coming from. So this is, he said, just on the northern border of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, but shares a lot of similarities in soil type and climate. So you can even refer to this, and a lot of people do in styles of wine like this, as a mini Châteauneuf-du-Pape. It carries that designation really, really well. They have done a fantastic job of keeping the style of their house, whether it's the Châteauneuf-du-Pape they produce or the Côtes du Rhône Village. They're very consistent in what they produce. So this is 60% Grenache, 20% Syrah, 15% Mourvèdre, and 5% Carignan. All the fruit has been destemmed. They destem everything before it goes into the crusher, and then macerate and ferment for a month before aging in large oak casks and tank for a year. So that longer maceration allows them to pull out a lot of extra additional weight and texture and flavor from the grapes, while leaving them in contact with the juice and the skins. It also means that this wine has a robust profile to it. When I picked up the bottle and I looked at the alcohol and I started doing my research, I was really surprised because this wine is 15.5% alcohol, but it doesn't taste like it. And that's the magic of wines. Wines from this region, you have a lot of fruit, you have a lot of heat, you have the intensity that comes from the climate in the region, and the grape varieties are really well suited to that, so they can actually handle being 15.5% alcohol and not seeming overwhelming or blown out or too boozy or dry or anything like that. This wine has a remarkable amount of balance for a wine that has so much substance and body. And some of that's happened in the last 5 years or so as the younger generation, Joris and Quentin and Arnaud, have taken over a little bit more of the responsibility of operating the winery. There's been a little bit of a dialing back of some of the push towards getting really deep, rich color and extended maceration, and they have dialed it back a little bit, and you're starting to see kind of a new renaissance, the new generation kind of making their mark. So really cool and a fun wine. Not only that, certified organic since 2012, farming certified or farming organically for longer before that, but the certification happened in 2012, and as of 2021 they've started farming using the lunar calendar and biodynamic principles. So always pushing forward with new ideas. This is a area that's pretty steeped in tradition, but that doesn't mean that the wines have to stay still. So I smell pretty classic Côtes du Rhône mix of aromas and flavors here. There's this strawberry fruit leather, this little bit of dehydrated strawberry, along with fresh strawberry. There's red plum, garrigue, or brambly herbs, herb de Provence, tarragon, thyme, lavender. There is a little bit of a dusty, earthy note to this wine as well as some meaty undertones. It is 20% Syrah, which often gives you a kind of a meaty and a peppery characteristic, especially when it's in a blend with Grenache, which adds all of this fruit, and Mourvedre, which adds this wild spiciness. Yeah, there's absolutely no way that if I was given this wine, no context, I'd be like, yeah, that's definitely like 15.5% alcohol. Don't get me wrong. I noticed that this wine is higher in alcohol, but there's a difference between high alcohol and high alcohol that's unbalanced, and this is not unbalanced. It has the right amount of alcohol, the right amount of concentration of fruit, and everything kind of lines up. There's nothing really out of sync here. This wine has tannin. That month of time macerating on the skins and fermenting has really pulled out some lovely tannic profile from some of these grape varieties. It has that little bit of grit, a little bit of grainy. Like I said, the tannins aren't rough. They're not sharp. They're not harsh. I appreciate that they are making this wine true to what it is, true to the area, true to their style of winemaking. If they were picking it earlier to try and bring that alcohol level down and not letting the fruit get to its full kind of developed ripeness that they seem to have in this vineyard, I would be, I think, doing a disservice to the potential longevity of this wine. This wine has still has acidity, still has freshness, still has, like I said, balance. I'm going to keep saying it because it is quite important here. There is ages of time left on this wine. This is 2022. This is a very young wine. I wouldn't really even kind of think about drinking a 2022 Chateau Neuf de Pop at this point. I like my Chateau Neuf de Pop with a little bit of maturity and a little bit of age because you see all of this leather and kind of dried fruit and earthy characters and mushrooms that come out with time. This is basically the same thing. Like, not just in style, but also geographically, it's right there. So, if you don't want to drink this right now, great. Hang on to it. Put it in your cellar. Put it in a dark place for a year and a half, 2 years if you want to. This wine is not going anywhere. If you want to enjoy it now, decanting is definitely going to be something that you want to do with this wine. 2-3 hours in a decanter is going to be totally fine. You're going to see a lot of development in flavor. You're going to see an opening up of the bouquet and the aroma in this wine. And then you're going to be able to enjoy it kind of over the time that it's opening up. Go back and taste it and just revisit and see where it's at. But if you know that you're having people over for dinner, you're going to do a beautiful meal, open the wine up at 3 o'clock and just have it in the decanter and sit and wait. Speaking of having people over for dinner, what do you eat? I mean, obviously, with big fruit, big tannin, some big alcohol, big flavors, right? So think about the things that you enjoy that are going to stand up to a wine of this intensity. I really like doing something like beef bourguignon, where you can use a little bit of the wine or use a different wine. Don't use this one, but use that in your cooking liquid so that you kind of take on all of these vinous wine characteristics, that rich stew over potatoes or sweet potato or polenta or whatever you want to do that kind of can be a foil for holding all of that beautiful sauce and that richness. Roasted vegetables. You could do prime rib. You could do definitely something that has some umami and some meatiness to it. I eat meat, so that's my go-to. But I mean, like I said, mushrooms or root vegetables or anything where you can kind of caramelize some of the sugars. Carrots do a great job of that because they have that natural sugar. They work really well here. Don't be shy with your seasonings. Lots of herbs, lots of spices, black pepper, That's all going to work super, super well here. And long cooking times is going to be something that you can definitely utilize in trying to mirror some of the kind of savory, earthy bite of this wine. It's great. I love having this diversity of flavors for you all to experience and something for you to have on hand just in case you need to break out a wine for that next dinner party. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the Made Boislauzon Côtes du Rhône Village from the January Somm Wine Club box. And we'll see you guys all next time.